At age 9, Mary McLeod Bethune picked 250 pounds of cotton every single day on her family's farm in South Carolina. At age 60, she was dining with 5 American presidents and helping shape the charter of the United Nations in San Francisco. In between, she turned $1.50 into an educational empire and faced down the Ku Klux Klan without flinching once. Her name should be in every American history textbook. Instead, most people have never even heard of her. That needs to change right now. This is the story of Mary McLeod Bethune, a story of courage, faith, and building something from absolutely nothing at all. To understand who she became, we have to start where she began. In the cotton fields of South Carolina, just 10 years after slavery ended, July 10, 1875, a baby girl is born in a small log cabin near Maysville, South Carolina. Her name is Mary Jane McLeod. She is the 15th of 17 children. Her parents Samuel and Patsy were both born into slavery. So were her older brothers and sisters. But Mary was different from her siblings. She was the first child in the entire family to be born free. Freedom came just 10 years before her birth. Freedom did not mean an easy life, though. The whole family worked the cotton fields that her parents had finally managed to purchase themselves. By the time she was 9 years old, little Mary could pick 250 pounds of cotton in a single day, more than most grown adults. There was no school for black children anywhere near Maysville. Most people assumed Mary would spend her entire life working in those cotton fields. But in 1885, a missionary named Emma Jane Wilson opened a one-room schoolhouse nearby. It was only for black children in the area. Mary walked 5 miles each way to get there, every single day, rain or shine. She was the only child in her family who ever attended any school. She later said these words that would define her entire life. Quote, "The whole world opened to me when I learned to read." End quote. She meant it. Every night, Mary came home and taught her parents and siblings everything she had learned that day. Education was too precious not to share with them. Her teacher saw something special in her. She helped Mary win a scholarship to Scotia Seminary in North Carolina. Mary packed her bags and left home. From there, she went to the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, Illinois. She was the only black student in the entire school. She excelled anyway. Mary dreamed of becoming a missionary in Africa, but when she applied, she was rejected. No mission board in America would sponsor a black woman then, so she found a different kind of mission. Right here in America, she would dedicate her life to teaching her own people. Starting in the Deep South, in 1898, Mary married a fellow teacher named Albertus Bethune. They had one son together named Albert. Then, life got complicated. The family moved to Florida. Albertus would eventually leave them, but Mary stayed behind. She had found something more important than marriage, a mission. In Daytona Beach, thousands of black workers had come to build the Florida East Coast Railway. Their children had absolutely no school to attend at all. Mary McLeod Bethune decided she would change that. She was 29 years old. She had almost no money, but she had an unshakable dream inside her. October 3rd, 1904, Mary rented a rundown house for $11 a month in Daytona Beach. This would be her school and her home together. Her down payment on that house was $1.50. That was literally every single penny she had in the entire world at that moment in time. Her first class had just 5 students. Their names were Anna, Celeste, Lena, Lucille, and Ruth. All girls between the ages of 8 and 12 years old. Plus her own 5-year-old son, Albert. 6 students total. Tuition was 50 cents per week. Many families paid with chickens or vegetables instead of cash. There were no textbooks in the school, no desks, no chairs, no pencils, no paper, no money to buy any of it at all. So Mary Bethune improvised every day. She made pencils from charred wood and sticks. She made ink from crushed elderberries. She made mattresses from corn sacks that she stuffed with Spanish moss. She later wrote about those early days, quote, "I haunted the city dump, retrieving cracked dishes, broken chairs, old lumber. Everything got scoured and mended." Word spread quickly through the Black community. More students came every week. Within 2 years, enrollment grew from 5 students to 250. Mary needed more space for all these students. She bought a plot of land that locals called Hell's Hole. It was the city's former garbage dump. Cost was $250. With donated bricks and volunteer labor, she built a school building on that old dump, then a dormitory, then more buildings. The campus kept growing and growing. To raise money for everything, she baked and sold sweet potato pies to tourists and railroad workers passing through town. Every penny went straight to her school. Her tireless efforts caught the attention of wealthy northern visitors who vacationed in Florida during the winter months. One visitor would change everything for her. John D. Rockefeller visited the school and was so deeply impressed by what he saw that he donated $62,000. That is $1.7 million today. In 1911, one of her students got appendicitis. The local hospital in Daytona refused to treat a Black girl. They turned her away at the front door. Bethune's response was immediate and decisive. She opened her own hospital. McLeod Hospital became the first hospital for Black patients in all of Daytona Beach. She opened the school's library to the entire public. It became the first free library in Florida that was actually accessible to Black citizens anywhere in the state. In 1923, her school merged with the Cookman Institute to form Bethune-Cookman College. From nothing to a college in less than 20 years' time. Mary McLeod Bethune became a college president at a time when Black women rarely led anything at all in American society. She was breaking barriers every single day. From $1.50 to a thriving college, from 5 little girls to nearly 800 students, all in less than 2 decades of relentless work. But building a school in the Jim Crow South meant more than just education. It meant confronting the forces that wanted her people to remain powerless and silent forever. 1920. The 19th Amendment passes. American women can finally vote. But in the South, Black women knew the law alone would not protect their rights. Poll taxes, literacy tests, violence, and intimidation, all designed specifically to stop Black Americans from exercising their constitutional rights at the ballot box. Mary Bethune was not going to accept that. She organized night classes to teach reading. She raised money to help Black citizens pay their poll taxes every election. She launched a massive voter registration drive across Daytona. She personally recruited Black women throughout the entire city to register and make their voices heard. Bethune was the 6th Black woman to register to vote in Daytona. She brought 62 women with her that historic day. All her teachers came, all her staff came. The Ku Klux Klan was watching everything she did. They did not like what they saw happening. A Black woman organizing Black voters, that was dangerous to them. One night in 1922, word spread through Daytona like wildfire. The Klan was coming tonight. They were marching straight toward Bethune's school campus. More than 100 men. White robes, white hoods, burning torches held high. They marched through the streets of Daytona, heading directly for her campus gates. Their message was crystal clear. Stop registering voters. Stop empowering Black people. Stop everything you are doing, or your school burns to the ground tonight. Bethune sent word to all her students immediately. Stay inside your dormitories. Stay quiet. Do not make a sound. Do not come outside no matter what you hear. Then Mary McLeod Bethune walked outside alone. She stood on the steps of her school, arms folded across her chest, head held high, facing 100 hooded men. From inside the dormitories, her students began to sing. Hymns rose into the dark night air, their voices carried across the campus to where the mob had gathered. The Klansmen stopped in their tracks. They looked at this small woman standing there, unarmed, unafraid, unmoved, and something in them hesitated that night. Then they turned around and left. Not one single building was touched. Not one single person was harmed. Mary McLeod Bethune had stared down the Klan and won. The next morning, she did not hide. She did not celebrate. She got right back to work, doing exactly what the Klan had tried to stop her from doing the night before. She led more than 100 black voters to the polls that very next day. Many of them were voting for the first time in their entire lives. They all stood in line. They waited for hours in the hot Florida sun. They cast their ballots, and their candidate won, because black voters showed up when it mattered most for their community. Bethune later said these words, quote, "The drums of Africa still beat in my heart. They will not let me rest while a single Negro child lacks a chance to prove their worth." Word of Bethune's incredible courage spread far beyond Florida. By the 1920s, she was becoming a national figure. People everywhere knew her name now. In 1924, she was elected president of the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs. She now had a national platform to make real change happen. Then came a meeting that would change American history forever. In 1927, Mary McLeod Bethune met Eleanor Roosevelt for the very first time. It happened at a dinner hosted by President Roosevelt's mother, Sarah. Bethune was the only black guest there that evening. The white women refused to sit near her. Eleanor Roosevelt made a deliberate point of sitting right beside Bethune that night. That evening, a friendship began that would last for decades and change America. Eleanor called Bethune, quote, her closest friend in her age group, end quote. She stayed at Bethune's home in Daytona twice, in the Jim Crow South. Imagine that. A white first lady staying in the home of a black woman. In the segregated South, it was an absolute scandal. Eleanor Roosevelt did not care what anyone thought. Through Eleanor, Bethune gained direct access to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and she used that access wisely. She used it to fight for her people constantly. In 1936, FDR appointed Bethune as Director of Negro Affairs in the National Youth Administration. This was a historic moment in American history. She became the first black woman to lead a federal agency in the entire history of the United States of America. She had shattered another barrier once again. Her salary was $5,000 per year. That made her the highest paid African American in the entire federal government at that time. She had come so far. Under her leadership, the National Youth Administration employed hundreds of thousands of young black men and women during the Great Depression, when jobs were scarce. She established a fund that supported over 4,000 black students in attending colleges and universities across America. Education remained her greatest passion. Bethune formed what became known as the Black Cabinet, a group of African-American advisors who counseled President Roosevelt directly on civil rights issues every week. In 1935, she founded the National Council of Negro Women. That organization still exists today, still fighting for the causes she believed in deeply. In 1940, she became vice president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She held that position until the day she passed away. During World War II, she advised the Women's Army Corps. She helped ensure that black women could serve their country in uniform alongside white women in the military. Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower. She advised them all. 5 presidents sought her counsel on matters of race, and then, in 1945, came the moment that crowned her influence on the international stage. The world was watching what would happen in San Francisco. President Truman appointed Bethune to the United States delegation at the founding conference of the United Nations. The future of world peace was being written there. She was the only Black woman with an official position in the entire American delegation, the only one at the table when history was being made in that conference room. From picking cotton in South Carolina to shaping the United Nations Charter, from $1.50 to advising presidents. This was Mary McLeod Bethune. May 18, 1955. Mary McLeod Bethune passed away from a heart attack at her home in Daytona Beach. She was 79 years old when she left us. Newspapers across America published tributes to her extraordinary life. The New York Times called her, quote, one of the most potent factors in interracial goodwill. The Pittsburgh Courier wrote these words, quote, in any race or nation, she would have been outstanding. Her chief attribute was her indomitable soul, end quote. She was buried behind her home on the campus of the university she built from nothing, exactly as she had requested. Her legacy lives on in that sacred ground. Before she died, she wrote her last will and testament. It was not about money or property. It was about values. It was about what she wanted to leave the world. She wrote these famous words, quote, I leave you love. I leave you hope. I leave you the challenge of developing confidence in one another. I leave you education. In 1974, a statue of Bethune was unveiled in Washington, D.C., first monument to honor a Black American or a woman on public land in the capital. 18,000 people came to witness that historic moment. Her legacy seemed secure forever. America would remember Mary McLeod Bethune for generations to come. And then something strange and troubling happened. America forgot her. Her name disappeared from most history textbooks. A whole generation never learned her story. Why did this happen? The same reason so many Black women have been erased from American history. Their stories did not fit the narrative that was being told to us. Think about that for just one moment. A woman who advised 5 American presidents, who helped found the United Nations, who built an empire from absolutely nothing, and most Americans have never even heard her name. That is not an accident. That is not an oversight. That is a choice that we can now reverse together. But history has a way of correcting itself. Eventually, the truth finds its way back to the surface, and in 2018, Florida made an important decision. The Florida legislature voted to replace one of their statues in the United States Capitol building. They chose to remove Confederate General Edmund Kirby Smith. His replacement would be Mary McLeod Bethune. A master sculptor named Nilda Comas was chosen to create the statue from marble quarried in Michelangelo's own cave. On July 13, 2022, the statue was unveiled in National Statuary Hall inside the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. History was made. Mary McLeod Bethune became the first African American to represent any state in the entire National Statuary Hall collection. Finally, she was taking her rightful place. The statue shows her wearing cap and gown, holding a black rose. The black rose was a symbol she used for her beloved students throughout her entire teaching career. A Confederate general replaced by a civil rights pioneer. A symbol of oppression replaced by a symbol of hope and determination. That is not just symbolism. That is justice. Today, Bethune-Cookman University is still thriving in Daytona Beach. Over 3,000 students walk the campus that she built from a garbage dump and a dream. From a rented house with 5 students to an 82-acre campus with dozens of buildings, her vision lives on in every graduate who walks across that stage. Her home in Daytona Beach is now a National Historic Landmark. Visitors come every single day to pay their respects and learn about her remarkable life story. The National Council of Negro Women, which she founded in 1935, is still active today, still fighting for the causes she dedicated her life to. The Mary McLeod Bethune Scholarship Program helps Florida students attend historically black colleges and universities. Her commitment to education lives on through them. Florida Representative Val Demings once said these words, quote, "Mary McLeod Bethune was the most powerful woman I can remember as a child. She inspired my whole life. Demings is not alone. Countless women across America have found strength and inspiration in Bethune's story. Her legacy grows stronger with each passing generation now. After decades of being forgotten, the story is finally being told again. Books are being written. Documentaries are being made. The world is remembering Mary Bethune. She started with absolutely nothing. $1.50, 5 students, pencils made from charcoal, ink made from berries, a dream that refused to die. She faced down the Ku Klux Klan without flinching. She advised 5 American presidents. She helped shape the United Nations. She changed the course of American history. Mary McLeod Bethune once said these words, quote, "Invest in the human soul. Who knows? It might be a diamond in the rough." End quote. Her own life proved that true. She was that diamond, found in the cotton fields of South Carolina, polished by education and faith, set in the crown of American history where she belongs forever. Her story teaches us that greatness can come from anywhere, that one person with enough determination can change the world, that our past does not determine our future. So the next time someone asks you about the most important figures in American history, remember her name. Remember Mary McLeod Bethune. Tell her story to everyone. Who else do you think American history has forgotten? Drop a comment below and let me know. If you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button right now. This was the story of Mary McLeod Bethune, the daughter of slaves who built an empire in Daytona, the woman who stared down hate and never once blinked. Make sure you pass her story on. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because some stories are too important to let the world forget them again.